This is Over the Guardrail. I'm DC, and we're here today with our first ever live episode of the program. And to help us along with this first ever live program, we have a special guest. That guest has wrestled all over the world. He's held titles everywhere he's been. He is the original Pitbull #1, Gary Wolf.
What's happening, guys? What's going on?
Gary, how are you?
Excellent, brother. Excellent.
It's good to see you. You look good.
Thank you. Pandemic did me well.
You know, I was going to bring up the pandemic. It hasn't been good for anybody, pro wrestlers included, but what have you been doing to stay busy?
Oh, my God, man. Yeah, it's been rough on all of us. I mean, it's no bullshit. I mean, hopefully things are kicking in soon. You know, I got some dates coming up in October. I'll be up in North Jersey. Check that out. It's called Titan Wrestling. Should be pretty good. Yeah, it's been bad, man. I mean, if you're lucky, you can get some unemployment. You know what I'm saying? But that's even hard to do, you know? So some guys are even having problems with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely brings up a lot of things in the pro wrestling world. There's been a lot of talk about unions again. Especially after WWE had the layoffs. You've been around for some years. How do you feel about the unions in pro wrestling, if they should have them?
When I was coming into business, that's when they were starting to talk about it. And I remember I used to hear them talk about it. But especially in Vince's locker room, man, you can't talk about it. And if you did, somebody would end up telling Vince and ratting you out or something. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Shit like that would go on, you know. But I remember Jesse the Body was really trying to, you know, help the guys, you know. And then eventually he worked it where he got himself in SAG because he started doing some movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And, you know, shit, Jesse the Body was a governor of Minnesota, bro, you know, and a SEAL, you know. So he was smart. He got an act and he jumped on the SAG card. Now, if you're lucky enough, you know, it's great to do that. I mean, that's the way to go. But I mean, it'd be good for the health of the wrestlers if they were able to have a union. I mean, there's a lot of things that we didn't get back in our day that they're getting. Like Vince's locker room is totally different now. I mean, you walk in there's personal trainers, there's makeup artists, there's people that make your gimmicks, there's people that do your hair. I mean, shit, they don't even have to carry their gear anymore. They just load it into a box and they take it on an 18-wheeler. You know, shit, it's totally different now. I mean, they didn't have that shit. All they had was food for us, man. That was about it. We were lucky. We're lucky we had somebody to tape us, you know, like tape our ankle or something. That ain't happening.
So you did start out there back in the late 80s. You and Anthony started out there, right? Was it as the Pitbulls at that point, though?
No, we were just coming out of the Monster Factory, and we were still in there actually. And Larry Sharp wanted us to go up there, and so we drove 8 hours to Niagara Falls, and we worked. Let me see, that was the first time. I think I worked Ted DiBiase that night. He worked Rick Rude, and then as a tag team, we worked the Brainbusters. I think that weekend. So it was pretty cool. So we got a chance to work against guys that we never worked with before. You know, the Rougeau brothers, every tag team there, the Boss Man, Hakeem, the Quebec guys, all them guys, man. It was awesome working with those guys and learning so much.
How did those guys accept young guys like you back then? Were they willing to pass the knowledge on?
Oh, absolutely. They were very cool. I mean, you got to remember they were called job matches back in the day. They were squash matches.
Yeah,
because that's what they were. They would. You look at TV now; it's night and day. I mean, you used to have to pay, $75 ticket to go see AJ Styles versus Ricochet. Now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Forget it. They're giving it away for free on television. So that's a problem. But
So, I wanted to touch on briefly today actually is the anniversary of the passing of Anthony Durante. Could you give us a little background on you and him? You knew him well before wrestling, right?
Oh, absolutely. We were from the same town, Hamilton, New Jersey, and we're actually went to school together. But we were in two different, like he would hang with his crowd, and I had my crowd. You know what I mean? So I went to Hargrave Military Academy, man, when I was like 9 years old, and I was there until I don't know until I was nine, I guess 14, and then I went to high school back where I live, and so it was different. You know what I mean? I was there for all them years, and then disappeared for like 5 years, and I came back.
Yeah.
A different person. You know what I mean? Going to Hargrave Military Academy is like, it's hardcore. You know, it's Vietnam vets ran that school.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had the hard knock bringing up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No bullshit, man. I was a sniper, man. Fucking young, dude. I'm not kidding you. It would shock you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So after you guys were in WWE for that short amount of time, it didn't really work out. You guys went over to Japan, I think, after that, right?
Well, no, actually, we had no problem with WWE. We just went there and we did about 10 matches, and we were like, thank you very much. You know what I mean? And actually, Vince got us a job in, he called Larry Sharp and said, send the boys down to North Carolina. You know, so George Scott and Paul Jones were waiting for us. So we drove down there, drove 8 hours. I woke up George Scott, I remember. It was like 3 a.m. because we only had about $30 left to our name. Right. You know, no bullshit. Yeah. So I woke him up and I'm like, I'm not sleeping in my fucking car, you know. I said, dude, give me a hotel room, you know. And I was no bullshit, man. Like after that, he was just like, don't ever do that again. I'll let you slide once, but don't ever call my room at 3 o'clock in the morning ever again. I said, yes, no problem, sir. But I didn't care. I was mad. I was like, you know, an 8-hour drive, you know. We don't have a phone. I don't have navigation. I got a fucking map, and I'm counting the inches, man. How I know I'm going 100 miles here. You know what I mean? It's fucking crazy. These kids today, shit, they're lucky, man.
I remember one time I was in California. They were having the wildfires there, and we had to evacuate. And we decided to drive to Las Vegas. And like you said, there was nothing maps, and it was driving through the desert, and you felt like you made one wrong turn and you were never coming out of it alive, you know. But
that's scary, man.
So different now, you know. You punch an address into GPS, and away you go, you know.
Dude, we would go by. It would take us once we got to town. I mean, it would take us at least 20 minutes to find the building sometimes. Yeah. You know, back in them days. Yeah, and we were working 6 days a week, so it was cool. You know, we were on the road with Ricky Steamboat. We trained at his gym, so Flair was always there. When NWA was in town, we were always there behind the scenes because we wanted to start working for NWA.
Sure,
but we were still young, you know, and you know, Vince was like, you know, he didn't come out and say it, but we were ready to go. Before the Nasty Boys. We were going to be there before them.
Right. You actually worked the Nasty Boys, though, when you went on that trip down south, right?
Oh,
Did
you
work with them? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We went there and they wanted us to be baby faces. And me and Anthony are like, honestly, we're better heels, and we actually suck at being baby faces. You know what I mean? Because we had that Road Warrior gimmick, you know what I mean? Where we didn't care, you know? God rest them souls, man. Both of them were great guys, man. We lost a lot of good guys this year. It sucks.
Yeah, that was terrible. A somber week for the pro wrestling world, that's for sure, with the loss of Road Warrior Animal.
Yeah. So like I said, you know, the Nasties are right away. They're heels, and I'm just like, you know, okay. So we went with it, and then every time we would do TV, I would always beg George Scott, can we do a heel promo? Just one heel promo, and he's just like, no. So finally, I remember it took a couple of weeks, about 6 weeks. He finally got tired of hearing my mouth. So he said, all right, I'm going to let you do one promo, and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? But, you know, this tape is costing me money. I'm like, I understand, you know?
Yeah.
So we nailed it so good because we're natural heels that his jaw was on the ground, and Paul Jones like stopped whatever he was doing and just turned around and said, holy shit. And right there, he just put his foot down and said, Nasties are going to be the faces, and you now are the heels. And not only that, you're getting the belts and you're getting in the stud stable.
Wow.
The Matt Bourne and the Tennessee stud. So it's like, come on, bro. I couldn't ask for anything else. You know what I mean? We were getting ready to roll. Vince was ready to bring us in against the Hart Foundation.
Uh-huh.
You know,
and
I guess
and
early 90s.
What stopped that?
New Japan.
Okay. Better deal or?
Well, yeah, they came down and checked us out in North Carolina first. You know, like they made an effort to like say, hey, I want you guys to work for us, you know? So Vince didn't really do that. He just sent us to a territory, and he wants us to do what we do, and then he'll call us when we're ready, when he's ready, I guess.
Yeah.
At that time, Japan came and visited us like twice, and then they're sending guys from Japan to the South to wrestle us, like Dean Malenko, Lager. I mean, they were bringing in guys that were working up there in Japan, the Fantastics, to come in and work, for South Atlantic. And it was cool because we got to work against, other guys like the Rock and Roll Express. And, we got some experience with them. Fantastics, they were a great tag team. And it worked out good for us because, Kataka was there. Kenny Shamrock was there. He was called Vince Torelli. And Kataka was called Chavis. Christian. Yeah. And that's what their gimmicks were. But, it's like Japan came down, and they came down twice. They were very interested the second time because they told us what they needed us to do. And once we started weaning the days off of work, from 6 days to 4, you can't stay in North Carolina no more. You know what I mean? Right. And back then, we had a 2-bedroom condo, 2 baths, a pool, tanning bed for $485 a month, man. That's it was great. Everybody else wanted to stay in a hotel, and we were like, "Fuck that, man! We're getting an apartment." Yeah. We had nothing in it. Maybe some chairs looking out the window, but we had our own stove and all that shit. We didn't have to, $185 was better than paying $150 a week.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So
you brought up Ken Shamrock. Is it right that you had an MMA background?
Back in the day, I did a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing that crazy. I had a pretty good record, but Kenny was he's the man. Like I said, I was a couple years working with him and Frank off and on. You know what I mean? Because he would leave North Carolina and he would fly to Japan for the month or for like a 2-week deal and maybe do like 2 or 3 flights if he can and then get out of there.
Right.
Yeah, but he was him and the Nasties had a bad one night.
I've heard little parts of that. You have the full story?
I stopped it, man. Me and my partner stopped it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's hear it.
The phone rang, and it was Kenny, and he was all. I didn't realize he was intoxicated, but he was like, "What room's the Nasties?" And I'm like, "I don't know. They're not. They're down the hall from me." So we didn't go out that night. I had a headache and my partner didn't feel like it. So next thing you know, I hear all this banging and the guy's banging on my door. So this little black guy opens the door. He's like, security guard. He's like, "Yo, man." Like he weighed like 120 pounds. He's like, "They're ready to kill each other. I can't stop them." So we jumped out of bed and we ran down it was an outside, like looking over the pool.
Sure.
Like something like where people will do wedding pictures and shit like that. It looked good. Yep. Nice. So we were like at least 4 stories up. And next thing I know, I turn the corner and I see Sags hooked fucking Kenny's ankle and he's dragging him out of the room. He's ready to throw him off the railing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was bad. And Knobs was like this on the bed, unconscious, sleeping, out cold. And we had to tackle Sags and stop him because he blasted him good, man. You know what I mean? Like he was so drunk when he got in there. Brian was already on the phone. Sags, he was on the phone. Jerry.
Uh-huh.
So what he did was back then you had those old phones that were in the hotel rooms.
Yeah.
He just grabbed it and nailed Kenny with it right in the face.
Oh,
and it hit him right in that. Yeah, it broke this eye socket right here. So Kenny fell into the chair and he just nailed him a couple times. And then that's when we came in, and that's when he started dragging him out. He was unconscious, dude. he was going to throw him over the railing. He would have been dead.
Yeah.
He would have been, because well, they were all drunk,
Yeah.
and Knobs was so drunk. He's the best fighter that's intoxicated in the world because he don't do nothing. He just lays there. He's a trip. But yeah, it was pretty scary. I mean, Kenny stayed in the hospital for at least 3 weeks. At least.
Is that something that there was a lot of back then? That kind of stuff going on behind the scenes? No? That was a very odd thing that happened. Yeah.
A bunch of guys getting drunk and you know what I mean? And then it's over stupid stuff too. You know what I'm saying?
So I got some people that want to come on and ask a question. So I'm going to bring the first one in now. I'm going to bring in Gina, and she's going to ask you a question. Gina, Gary Wolf.
Hi, Gary.
What's up? How you
Hi.
doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. I'm in Florida.
Oh, great. That's nice down there. But my question is what current WWE star would you like to team with or compete against in the near future?
Wow. Wow. I'd like to go against John Moxley.
Oh, he'd be a good one.
Yeah, we would go good. We're from that same area, which we built. We built that area where he came out of, South Point. That's where Combat Zone's from. So I think that'd be interesting.
I just caught some of him with Eddie Kingston. Did you happen to catch any of that?
Eddie's great, man. I love Eddie. Eddie's my boy. He used to come to my school all the time, bro.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, look what he's doing. He mastered the promo, man.
The funny thing is he's doing what you guys were doing.
Yeah, he mastered the promo because he's telling the truth. He's speaking what he knows. He's not being handed a script to read word for word. That's some guy that worked for a soap opera wrote you up for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's been a pretty good thing that AEW's done bringing him on. He's a good one. Gina, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks,
Thank
honey.
you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
She's cool.
So, over in Japan, what's the biggest difference between working over there and working over here?
Working over there is called strong style. So you pretty much lay a lot of your shit in there. But you can take it. I mean, you're laying stuff in the chest. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You're a little bit more snugger. Because when I first went to WWF, I'm not going to lie, bro, I was in shock. I couldn't believe how smooth those guys were. I mean, you got to remember they were working, almost every day, 300 something days a week. I mean, a year,
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure that out because I was learning at the factory how to work. And honestly, we were beating the shit out of each other. I'm not going to lie,
Right.
So once I went there, my whole perspective changed. It's like, wait a minute. Now I understand what working is compared to shooting. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
I didn't get it until the boss man hit me with his nightstick and made it look so good after he handcuffed me. And I remember going back in the back of the locker room, and this motherfucker was so happy. He came up and hugged me. And was like, man, thank you so much. Because I sold it good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was no bullshit, man. Those guys were really cool, But you had to earn your respect. If you didn't earn, like if you bitched or I'll give you a story, and I'm not bashful about it. Ted DiBiase hit me so hard he made me shit my pants. Okay? But I had it coming to me because during the match, I shot myself in over the top rope, sunset flipped him, and I hooked him, dude. I tried to pin him. 1, 2. He had to work to get up.
Oh,
and
wow.
let me tell you, he got up all right because eventually during the match, he clotheslined me right across my face.
Yeah.
And it was like nerves, before I had to go out. I was like, oh shit, I got to go, but I don't have time. You know what I mean? So it's like, you just do it. So I remember going in the bag and just throwing my shit away. And getting cleaned up and just getting. Next thing I know, he comes in and he's got Virgil right next to him, and he's looking at me. He's doing this. He's rubbing his jaw, and he's waiting for me to bitch. He's waiting for me to say something. And I got up and I was just like, "Thank you, sir, so much. I appreciate that, man. Fucking awesome, man." And he looked at me. He was just like, "All right, that was good. That was good." He walked away. I heard him talking. And like I said, before you know it, you got other guys like Cowboy Bob Orton, who was very cool with me and Anthony, the Wild Samoans that were great with us. And they would spread the word, And next thing you know, before you know it, all the old school guys in the 80s, man, they knew who we were. And if they were going on a tour, they would get in touch with Don Morocco, King Curtis, or Jimmy Superfly Snuka and say, "Yo, let's bring the pit bulls in," because we're easy. I mean, we can work any style. Japanese, WWF, I could do Puerto Rico, I could do any style. Lucha Libre, it doesn't matter. That's one thing that we were good at, me and my partner. We can adapt to any style.
Speaking of adapting to styles, ECW was a style all of its own.
Oh, without a doubt, dude.
When you were there before it was Extreme Championship Wrestling, right? You were there when it was still Eastern Championship Wrestling.
I was there when it was Tri-State Wrestling Alliance.
Okay.
Yeah, me and Anthony are honestly we're one of the originals ECW guys, legit. You know what I mean? There's a few guys out there that are totally legit. Like Stevie Richards is another one. He was there back in the day. You got guys that are forgotten that people don't mention them, like Tony Stetson, Tommy Cairo, Johnny Hotbody. You know what I mean? There's so many other guys, you know what I mean, that started back then and built that up, you know what I mean, to where it is.
So when it started to make that changeover in the beginning and you knew it was going to go to this extreme style, is it something you thought would work, like that you guys would have a chance to compete with WWE and WCW?
We were different. Like, we were already doing that kind of stuff in Japan for Wings and FMW. Plus, we were working for New Japan too. We had a contract with them. So it was cool because I figured, okay, when we're not, we were doing 25 weeks a year, in Japan. So when we're not in Japan, we're going to be here in ECW. And that's what we decided to do. Vince wasn't going to give us Japan and Vince McMahon. He was going to say, you guys got to be on the road 365 days a year. And at that time, I just remembered the old guys like Rick Rude and them telling me, look, before you sign a deal, find out how many days you're going to be on the road, because you don't want to be on the road 250 days out of a year.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough on your body. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be home to your family. You know what I mean? And plus the wear and tear on your body. You know what I'm saying? So,
sure.
When I was younger and we were doing that stuff down south, I mean, I was working from Monday to Saturday, and we only had Sunday off, and it was cake because we knew how to work, like I said, so, but I never wanted to, when shit was going down and Vince was interested in taking over ECW, we were already getting offers to go to WCW. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, we already had that set up, and it was pretty much set. I was sitting home in my living room on the couch, man, and the phone rang, and I had Diamond Dallas Page, Eric Bischoff, Kevin Sullivan, Raven, one more guy. Yeah, maybe Russo. There might have been one more guy on there. I don't remember. But they were just like, "You guys want to come in?" And we're like, "Yeah." And it was like, it was the December, or it was like right before the December pay-per-view. And they were going to bring us in on the pay-per-view against the Steiners. And they were going to throw straps on us.
Oh, wow.
And we were down with that. Yeah, we were going to sign a 3-year deal. And that would have turned into a 6-year deal eventually. You know what I mean? And that would have been it for us. But because we still could have worked for Japan, because they were cool with that.
Yeah.
Us going to Japan. Yeah, so... But then before you know it, Eric Bischoff called me up to give me my plane stuff. And he's like, "You're not going to believe this." And I was like, what? And he's like, Vince bought ECW and WCW. I was like, what?
Oh, yeah. One of
They
the
were
worst
not-
things for the wrestling business.
Dude, I was like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I cannot sign any new talent. And I'm just like, you're freaking kidding me. I was supposed to be there like in 2 days to sign a contract
Unbelievable.
for like $1.5 million.
Life-changing.
That hit hard, bro. That hit real hard.
Talk about life-changing too. The broken neck incident with Shane Douglas. I recently heard an interview of him talking about that day and that night and how exactly it went down. What do you remember about that?
It was a total fucking mess. You know what I mean? Between him and me together, I mean, I'm not saying he did it on purpose. I took a bad bump, straight up. But also, he didn't land like he was supposed to either.
Mm-hmm.
But I should have been able to, regardless of what happened, regardless of what he did, I should have been able to take the right kind of bump and protect myself, and I didn't do it. So my neck fucking broke. Didn't expect that to happen.
No.
You know, so I did get knocked out. So when I rolled over, I remember looking up and I just seen white. And I just closed my eyes and I just remember they told me to, you know, just wiggle your hands and your toes, you know, so this way you don't know if you're paralyzed. Right. So I wiggled that. I said, okay, I'm good. So I rolled out very, very carefully. I just thought I jammed my neck, you know, because I heard it go pop. That's what it did. That's what I heard in my head. So when I got in the back, you know, the Wild Samoans are like, Samu and his brothers, and they're moving my neck and doing this. And I'm like, look, I don't know. I think I jammed. I'm not sure. They go, maybe you did jam it. Just don't do nothing, you know? So I went home that Saturday night. I didn't know my neck was broke. I mean, if I would have sneezed, dude, and like, that could have been it for me. I had no idea until Monday morning. That's when I got up and I said, I'm not going to take no pain medicine, even though I'm in pain. I said, I'm going to see what happens, you know? So I woke up and I was like, holy shit, something was wrong. So I went right to the chiropractor. And this is a guy that I've seen for 20, 25 years, 30 years. And as soon as I walked in, he looked at me and knew something was wrong. So he just said, here, you know, wrote me out a thing, CAT scan, go now. No questions asked, like go now. So I drove myself to the hospital, walked in, handed the lady the prescription, and then at first, you know, they're like thinking, okay, what the fuck's this guy want? And I hand a script, and they look, and they say, and they see what's on the script. They're like, holy shit, like you got to get in here now. So I went in, they gave me the CAT scan, and they strapped me down. I had no idea, and I'm like, what? I got to get up and take a leak. They're like, nah, man, you ain't moving, you ain't fucking doing nothing. And they strapped my whole ass down, and they put me in a room, dude, and I was freaking out all night because I had to wait till the next day to see the doctor. And that was in Jefferson Hospital in Philadelphia. And the big head honcho came in the next morning with like, I don't know, 12 other doctors.
Wow.
And they're surrounding me, man. I'm like, oh, fuck, what's going to happen? What's going on, you know? And they're like, we can't understand why you're alive. You broke C1 in half. You should be... The only thing we could come up with is the muscle that you have in your traps and your neck saved your life. Because if it broke just like, you know, it was like a disc and it broke just like that. If it would have went like this, I'd have been dead. But that stayed, the muscle saved my life, man. They had they couldn't explain it. They said at least you would be on a breathing machine, minimum. They're like, it should have shut everything down. But I was very, 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 very lucky.
Yeah. Put you on the shelf for a while, though, right? 8 months.
Yeah, I asked the doc, and I remember he looked at me like I was fucking nuts. I said, when do you think I can go back to work? And he looked at me like, holy shit. He's like, honestly, 6 months if you build your neck strong again. So I gave myself 8. So I gave myself an extra 2 months. This way we could build that angle even more with Shane doing all those great promos about me being crippled and shit.
Yeah. And then the finish to that when you came back with the neck brace still on, right? And he threw you to the ground.
Dude, that was the biggest, craziest white heat ECW ever had.
Yeah.
Come on, nobody jumped guardrails before, bro. That's white heat. When the fans were that pissed, they wanted to kill him. They tried, dude. He ran out of that building. And I'm not bullshitting you, brother. He thought he got stabbed at least 5 times.
Wow.
He was they couldn't get out of there quick enough.
You don't see heat like that anymore.
No, absolutely not.
Gary, I got another guest that wants to come in and ask you a question. Christina is a big wrestling fan, and here she is.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you? So
Good.
I've been to a lot of live shows. I watched Raw. I watched SmackDown and all that stuff. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened backstage that none of the fans saw? Yeah, that's a good one. Give us the tea.
Wow. When I was in WF working there, young, I was lucky because I got to play cards and hang out with Andre.
Oh, wow. That's like a big deal.
Yes. And I remember sitting in the back and we're in our own little room and we're playing and he breaks out some wine. So he's letting me drink wine with him. And I'm thinking I'm going to get in trouble. He's like, no.
No. His little tiny glass to your huge glass.
Yeah, right? He's like, I'm the boss. And I'm like, okay. So I was like sitting there, still playing cards because my grandfather invented the poker machine.
Okay.
So I could play good poker. I could play some poker. So we're playing and he loved playing poker. That made him happy, because he was always in pain.
Yeah.
So I remember they kept knocking on the door to call me out to go to the ring sometimes. And he would scream. He would just turn around and go, no! And I mean, as a giant doing that, it's so loud that it actually pierces your head. You know what I mean? It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So he got mad one night and he told me, he said, this guy's a shit. I said, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm like, got shit. So he puts shit under his armpits. Goes in the ring. Yeah, goes in the ring. And as soon as he gets in the ring, he puts him in a headlock and puts the guy right in his armpit.
No.
It was awesome. And the guy got mad and he came in the back like he was going to do something. And they're like, Andre will kill you. I mean, he can literally pick you up by the head of your body and lift you in the air, And that was funny as shit, man.
That's crazy. Well, at least you had that experience. So you can always tell everybody that you had that experience with Andre the Giant.
No, it was great. It was great. I mean, I was on the same bus that he used to ride in Japan. They saved his seat. Because actually Yokozuna was there with me, and that's where Yokozuna sat. And Andre's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
There you go. So that's good. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's one of the good Andre stories there.
Yeah.
Well, Christina, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Yo, also, I want to show you guys. I got some T-shirts, man.
Yeah.
Check them out. I got Pit Bulls.
Nice.
Front, back. It's actually the new Pit Bulls.
I see. Yes. Pitbull number 3, Rage, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we've been working together a lot in New York and stuff. So, and then this is an old school FMW picture of me. These are actually awesome, guys. These have ECW on both sleeves. And then on the back, man, we got the hardcore baseball bat with the spikes and shit.
Where can we get that stuff?
Yeah, all you guys got to do is hit me up, Gmail me, pitbull67@gw.com.
All right, and definitely send me that, and I'll post that.
I made a mistake.
Pitbull67
Pitbull67 GW at gmail.com.
All right. And yeah, like I said, send that to me and I'll put that up in the post with the video as I post this on YouTube and Facebook and all that other stuff. So are you guys working together, you and Rage, for this upcoming one you were just talking about?
No, I'm working Monster Mac.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Monster Mac, he says he's the king of the Northeast and stuff, but he's a good guy. He used to come to my school a lot, and work out with the guys, which was great.
Yeah.
You always learn from other guys. You can never stop learning. But just so he remembers, I may teach you some things, but I'm not going to teach you all the things. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of stuff up here that nobody knows. So hopefully Monster Mac's in shape. It's a steel cage match, weapons hanging from the ceiling. So it's going to be pretty brutal. It's going to be pretty brutal, man.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
It's in Jackson, New Jersey, man. You guys should try to make it up there. It's going to be pretty tight. You got Homicide going to be there, and you got Just Incredible going to be there. It's going to be pretty crazy, man.
Oh, wow. That's a big show.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, it should be good because people I know are just they're seething to get out and watch a live wrestling show, especially up here in New York,
Yeah, I mean, I work for NEW, Robert Singh, out of New York, out of Queens, and it's getting tight, but we're going to be down there. Make sure you guys show up November 14th back in New York. We should have a huge, big convention back over there. We should be rocking soon.
Oh, are they still going to have that, the big event?
Yeah, that's still scheduled. So nobody, because it's at one hotel. So
yep. Yeah, I did that last year with TJ Perkins. Actually, I had there. Yeah, that was really good. So you're doing that as the Pitbulls, right? I saw Rage is going to be there with you. Is that what you're doing?
Yes, Rage is going to be there with me, and I think Storm from Beer Money.
Oh, cool.
I'll be hanging out with him too. He'll be down there too.
Great.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, what else do you got? You got any other place we can find you or follow you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to Gary Wolf on Facebook. I usually promote most of my stuff on there. I got the Pitbulls. I got the ECW legend Gary Wolf, the Mad Dog of War. You guys can always hit me up on there, and I'll let you guys jump on that page. It's pretty cool. But other than that, I do Twitter. I don't really know I got some weird ass number, man.
I noticed that. Yeah.
I had just PJ did it for me, and I don't know. I don't know where he came up with those numbers and stuff. So
it almost looks like an inmate's number or something on there. I didn't know what that was.
That's cool. That could happen. Might have been.
Well, Gary, I really appreciate you coming on here with me and doing the first live edition of Over the Guardrail.
Exactly.
And I hope to definitely have you back on here again soon.
Shit, yeah, man. And anybody watching, I mean, this is the shit. Over the Guardrail, you can't beat this. Next time I come on, maybe I'll put somebody through a guardrail.
As long as it's not me, we'll find somebody to have you put right through the guardrail.
Not you, brother. You're cool. Excellent.
All right, Gary.
All right, man. Get out there and come see me, boys. If you want to come out there, ladies, feel free. Especially moms. Hello, mothers. Would you like another?
All right. Well, this has been the first edition of Over the Guardrail Live, and we've been with Gary Wolf.
Later, guys. Peace.
Gary, thanks again, man.
Thanks, buddy. I had a good time, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try and make it up there and see that show.